This program is intended for a mature audience. If you are not 18 or over, please stop listening and find more age-appropriate content. The show will cover content in an adult-minded manner. If you are offended by any material here, you have a choice to stop listening. Please listen with an open mind and don't discriminate to the ideas of our guests. Thank you and enjoy the show. I'm your host, Ashley Shannon. Thank you for joining me tonight. This is a late one, but I figured that I would hop on here and give you guys a little bit more of an insight and background information about me because I haven't really shared that information. And I think it's important that you know who your host is. So I will forewarn you, this is a trigger warning. If at any time you cannot handle what I'm talking about, you can leave. But I'm asking no negative comments, no bullying of any sort, and just please understand that this is, real life. These things happen in real life. So with that said, I grew up in Stoughton, Wisconsin. That is my hometown. Graduated from Edgerton High School in 2003. Had kids at an early age, around my 20s, two beautiful boys who have special needs, both of them, which are amazing. I wouldn't change anything in the world. I got into a relationship and at a younger age and stuck with it. That relationship was not a very good relationship. It created a lot of toxic things in my life. So what I'm going to talk about a little bit here is domestic abuse or violence, and narcissistic abuse, and what that kind of looks like, and what I went through to overcome it, and that I'm still working on my trauma. So, I believe I started dating around this man around, I believe he was 14, gonna be 15. I am 2 years older than him. So, when I met him, he was very cute, convincing, just amazing, treated me great. Had that, great persona, that great smile, acted like a bad boy, and that's what attracted me to him. So I ended up moving out of my parents' house against their advice and moved in with him. And at that point, everything seemed to be going great. But then it started getting to the point where he didn't want me to go to school because I was still in high school. Getting ready to actually graduate and that. So I missed a lot of school, made a lot of bad choices, let him start controlling me at that point. So I actually cut off my family. I didn't really talk to them. And then when the abuse started, it was surprising, shocking, and I didn't know what to do. I basically was afraid and scared. But then he would, apologize and I'm sorry, it will never happen again. And then, of course, it happens again. One incident that I remember is him trying to hurt himself, and he was drunk. I was trying to help him, and he turned around and got angry with me and punched me in the face and split my lip open and my eyebrow. His mom overheard everything that was going on and yelled down the stairs, and we went upstairs, and at that point I'd been on crutches for something I don't even remember. Sorry. So his mom was dealing with him. His dad was dealing with me in the computer room. And he is like, I'm really sorry. You don't deserve that. He's like, I'll take you to the hospital. Well, his mom turned around and said that if I didn't stop doing this to her child, her son, that I can get the hell out. Because he doesn't deserve somebody like me. So, of course, it was my fault. So, he ended up hitting me again. At that point, I got the nerve up to call my parents. They came and got me. I did not graduate high school. I was short credits. So, we decided the best thing for me to do was move up north to get away from the situation, number one. Number two, they did not have the classes that I needed to take to earn the credits that I needed to graduate. So I moved up north to a little town called Elmwood, a village, with my cousin and her husband and her 2 daughters. I had been working at a Quick Trip. I believe it's called the Hearty Platter restaurant that's attached to it. So like a truck stop in a way. As a waitress. Which was amazing. It was good money. Went to summer school. Got my credits. Graduated. While I was there, I experienced something very, very horrible. I was sexually assaulted by an employee. At that point, I didn't know I was pregnant, and I had found out when I went in for my exam, and I had lost the baby. So I was deciding whether or not I was going to stay living up there or I was going to go back home. So around the 4th of July, I decided to go stay with a friend for the weekend. So I went back home. At that point, I got told that my ex had cheated on me with a 14-year-old girl. And mind you, he was 17. And I just, I couldn't handle that. He was almost charged with molestation of a child. Which was really hard to swallow. And of course, I gave him another chance. And then I ended up pregnant with my oldest son. And at that point, I lived with for a while, or my ex for a while, and then I moved back in with my grandparents, because my mom and dad were actually buying my grandparents' house in Stoughton. So I had Cameron in 2004. He was born premature. And at that point, like, I had decided that, you know, I wanted a family. I wanted to give my ex another chance. And so he ended up actually eventually moving in with me and my parents. I was working as a CNA, pulling double shifts and that to take care of my family. Eventually, I was able to get an apartment for us, and I was still the only one working, providing for my family. So then, at that point, my ex and I argued quite a bit, but that was because of the way that he was and the way he treated me. I was told that I was no good. I was a piece of shit. I did not matter. And that I was nothing but a crybaby, because when I would get upset, I would cry, because that's the way I let my emotions out, or else I would get angry. And at that point, that one night I had tried to leave because he was pushing me around. And so I went into the bedroom to get Cameron out of his crib. He yanked Cameron out of my arms, and I went to try to go for the phone to call my stepdad. And we obviously had a phone that had a cord on it. He actually took the cord, wrapped it around my neck, and started to strangle me in front of our child as he is holding our baby. I eventually got away from him, barricaded myself in the door in our bedroom, and I got the phone, was able to call my stepdad. He came over. They ended up in an altercation. I went back to my stepdad and my mom's house. And, of course, like a damn idiot, I took him back again. I thought that I was in love with him because he manipulated me. He was very good with his words, and I would believe them every time. He would beg me for a chance over and over again. I'll change, I promise, I will change. And he would change for a couple weeks, and then it would go right back to the same stuff again. I was always made to feel like I was crazy, that I made this all up. I was not allowed to go out and do anything with my friends without his permission. I was not allowed to dress the way that I wanted to. He basically told me what I could and could not wear. I was not allowed to be on the phone without being accused of cheating on him, when in reality, he was the one cheating on me. When I was pregnant with Cameron, he actually slept with a 16-year-old girl from DeForest. Wrote her a letter saying how beautiful she was and that he loved building Legos with her. And she was the most amazing thing in the world to him as I'm pregnant with his child. So I had confronted him on that because she told me and gave me the letter. We are across the street from his parents' house in the pavilion in Edgerton in the park. And he got mad at me because I told him it was over. At that point, being pregnant, and I believe I was like 6 months pregnant, he went to go raise his fist to punch me, and his mom yells out the window, Don't you dare punch her. She is pregnant. So he got mad. And then a couple nights later, he had went to a party and had sex with another 16-year-old. So I was cheated on probably, I think 12 different girls. And I was supposed to be okay with that. But like an idiot, I kept taking him back. Because I wanted my family. I wanted it to work. Well, it didn't work, but I just kept going back, like I said. And the problem with a narcissist is they are able to manipulate you so well that you think that it's your fault. That you're the one that's the problem. That you're the one that's crazy. And it's all in your head. Well, I'm telling you right now, anybody that has been through anything like this, or domestic violence, or dealing with a narcissist, you know how this works. It is not a pretty thing to go through. And it's hard to deal with, and it's hard to get away from them. I am the one that supported my family, my kids. I would work 2 to 3 jobs at a time, exhaust myself completely, come home, have to clean the house, take care of the kids, do all their schooling stuff, all their doctor's appointments. And all he did was sit around and play video games and watch TV. That was my life. Even if I went to the store to grab milk, which was not that far from our house, I would get accused of cheating, even though I was gone for like 10 minutes. And then I'd come back, and it was an argument. I mean, beyond an argument, like full-blown, really bad. And, of course, me being myself, I defended myself. I fought back. But I wasn't strong enough to fight back when he got physical. There was one point that he had tried to drown me in the bathtub. And our son saved me. People ask you why you don't report this stuff to the police. Why you don't do anything about it. Why don't you just leave? It is almost impossible to leave. Because you try to leave, and that's when it is, I'm sorry, I'll never do this again. I love you. I promise I will change. I will do everything. I will be there. I will take care of the kids. I will help you. I will, that's the excuse that you get. And then, like I said, they change for a little bit, and they go right back to their ugly ways. I dealt with this for 16 years. Because I couldn't escape it. It was literally torture. I felt like I was dying inside, that I had no life. There were a few times that I thought that, I was going to end up dying. And I was scared. I would get told if I said anything to anybody or reported it, that it would be worse for me. He would even go to the extent of telling me how he was going to kill me and exactly what he was going to do and how he would get away with it. That was not love. I don't know how many times I got beat on. how many times my children witnessed this. And I stayed because I thought it was love. I thought I was in love. And then once I realized what was going on and how I was being brainwashed, how I was being manipulated, and I started to wake up from it, he didn't like that. So then he started acting depressed and crying all the time and faking medical problems. And mind you, all my injuries are medically documented. So, there's no denying them. There's no him lying about them. Nothing. So the day I finally got the courage up to leave him, after he had beat me, tried to strangle me, punched me in the face, because I was talking to another coworker. We had already been separated, but living together still to help take care of our children until we could figure out what we were going to do exactly about the divorce and that. And because I was giving a coworker advice on my phone, which he had no right to look at. And yes, he was a male, but I was helping him out with his girlfriend that was pregnant. He didn't like that. He still thought that he had control over me and that he could do whatever he wanted. And he wanted to see my phone. And I told him, no, you don't have that right. We aren't together. So he ripped my phone out of my hand, shoved me down on the bed, had one hand on my throat, pushing on it, and started punching me in the face. And I'm trying to catch my breath and scream because the windows are open. And here comes our son, Jaden, who is got a lot of disabilities, but he's amazing. Jumps on his back, starts pounding on his back. Get off my mommy, get off my mommy. You're hurting her, you're hurting her. So what do? I go in the bathroom, cover my face up with makeup, cover the bruises on my throat, and I still went to work. I did not go back that night. I reported it to the police the next day, which they took pictures of everything, and they went to arrest him, and I show up there, and here he is faking one of his medical things, saying that, his side hurts, whatever, not. Which he would do anytime I tried to get the nerve up to leave him. So they took him to the hospital, found out there was nothing wrong with him, and the cops actually arrested him from there for domestic abuse. It took me 16 years to turn him in. I'm not going to emphasize this enough. 16 years. And I'm not going to go into, all the details and, my whole life and what happened. But this was a big part of my life and how it had destroyed me. To this day, I still have a lot of trauma. I'm still working on it. I still have nightmares. I have flashbacks. I am triggered by certain things. If I see him in the store, I start shaking and immediately want to leave. That is how he has affected my life. But yet, I was told I was the crazy one, that I made this stuff up, that I did stuff to him, when in reality, he's the one that did it to me. He tells people, like his mom and his new wife, about things that had happened that he had done to me, that I did that to him. But yet, in reality, he has charges against his wife, too, that he did. He beat her up. And I'm talking pretty bad to the point where she defecated herself. I'm saying to the point where he got strangulation charges, false imprisonment, domestic violence, domestic abuse, battery. And, of course, they got dropped down to misdemeanors, just like the charge against me did. And gets put on probation. So, of course, he couldn't do anything anymore. He lost that control of being able to do anything. So, what happens is he starts abusing my children because he didn't have anybody else he could do it to. And I got the kids back. They're doing great. They were adopted by my husband, who was absolutely amazing. He's an amazing father to them. And obviously to my wonderful bonus children, his 4 boys. And we are all slowly healing. But there's a lot more that I went through than that. Like I said, I don't want to get into all of it, but that is the biggest part of my life that destroyed me. So, any of you out there, whether you're female or a male, because it doesn't matter, it can happen to males too. Do not wait. Do not believe them. There are a lot of signs of this. There's a lot of red flags. The minute somebody puts their hands on you, don't believe that they're never going to do it again, because they're going to. And you need to follow your gut instinct and believe in yourself and stand strong. Yes, it might take time to heal. Your trauma might be with you your whole life, but eventually you will heal from it. Yeah, you're never going to forget it. But you can build another amazing life and move on and forget that part of your life. So just remember, you are strong. And nobody should ever, ever have control over you or treat you that way. On another note, I do have an amazing life. I met my husband 5 years ago. He is phenomenal. I have 4 other wonderful kids now. And I'm happy. I didn't know what that felt like, and I'm happy finally. And he supports me through everything. He backs me up on everything. He, like I said, he adopted, I should say now, our 2 boys. And he treats them no different than the other 4 boys. Just like I don't treat the other 4 boys no different than I treat my biological sons. And we're going places. We're making a better life for ourselves and moving on. And my husband suffered trauma as well in his relationship prior to ours. So we connect very well. We're a lot of yeah, at times, we disagree, but what married couple doesn't? So like I said, don't stay in that relationship. Don't blame yourself. Don't think it's your fault. Get out of it while you can. Because I will tell you, not a lot of women actually survive those types of relationships. I was lucky. So, there's a little bit more background information on me. The reason I picked to do the type of podcast that I'm doing, and like I said, it's not all about mental health. It is about just wellness as well. Taking care of yourself, things like that. But I am really big about mental health. That is one of my biggest things. And disabilities. And helping people. That was my biggest thing for doing this, is to help people. To put awareness out there. Of, the struggles that people do go through. And that life happens. And there is help if you actually seek it. And so, yeah, this is why this podcast, specifically Living Well with Bad Habits, is important to me. Is because I want to help people. I want to reach people. I want them to know they're not alone in whatever fight they're going through. Whether it be, weight management, you're too skinny, or you can't figure out a diet, or medications are an issue, things like that. Mental health, depression, anxiety, bipolar, narcissism, domestic abuse. Those are a few of the topics that I would touch base on. There's a lot more. So if anybody out there would like to join my podcast as a guest and either tell your story or, just come on and let's talk about whatever you would like to talk about, you can reach me on Messenger on the Living Well with Bad Habits page. You can also reach me on my personal messenger on Facebook. I am on TikTok as well. So if at any time you're interested in coming on, come on, let's go. I also do stuff like promoting small businesses, like healthy businesses, even, like businesses that are just getting started with alcohol, restaurants, all kinds of stuff like that. So, massaging places, whatever it may be. But if you're interested, please reach out to me, and I would be more than glad to set up a time to do a podcast with you guys. But I'm done for tonight. You guys have a wonderful night.
Hey, babe. Sorry. I just wanted to add one thing to it. If anybody out there is actually going through all this stuff, there are help lines you can call. There is places online you can find, either whether it's just to talk to somebody or to actually get help and get away. Like the YMCA has good programs.
You can also reach out to the YWCA, which is for women and children.
They actually do accept men, too. I found that out.
They do, but it's in a different facility.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I do touch base on is suicide. I did go through that as well.
And I know you're big with, like, veterans and stuff like that. Because what they go through, and when they come back, the mental hardships they have to deal with. Mm-hmm. And like I said, there's helplines out there.
The severe PTSD that people suffer from being overseas and what they've seen and had to do, and the depression and, their triggers as well. Veterans are very important to me.
Plus, one thing I've also learned from you is if you have a gut feeling about one of your friends going through a hard time, just give them a call.
Yeah.
Because you never know. It could be like a sixth sense or something like that. Just give them a call, see how they're doing.
Yeah, because normally your gut instinct is correct. Check on your friends, people, because I'm telling you, even if you think they're strong and that's what you've seen, we're not always strong. You need to check on them because you never know what they are actually going through.
I think Robin Williams said it best. Even the biggest clowns are hiding the biggest frowns or something like that. I forget how he put it. Yeah,
Robin Williams is an amazing guy. He has said some amazing quotes. But, we thought that guy, we all watched him growing up. He seemed happy. And to find out that he was not was actually very shocking.
Mm-hmm.
So suicide prevention, and that is very important to me too, especially with the bullying that's going on nowadays in schools and other places. Children are committing suicide at younger ages because they can't handle it. So myself, I went through issues with, harming myself. Like, I used to be a cutter. It helped relieve my pain, at least I thought. I have thought about suicide in the past. I have never went through with it. My kids got me through that. They are the ones that made me strong and made me want to keep moving and living life. So yeah, the suicide prevention hotline too. I mean, you can also call crisis. You can show up at an emergency room. They will help you. So please do not be afraid to reach out for help. So, like I said, I wish you all a good night, and if you ever would like to talk, or if you just need to talk and not be on the podcast, you're more than welcome to reach out to me too. Thank you.